Hello, and welcome back to our seated Tai Chi. Today we're going to start translating some of our silk reeling exercises down into the legs to get those moving. We are going to be working on creating some slight movement and mobility in our hips, knees, and ankles. Certain exercises will focus a little more on one or two than another, but they are always all involved in all of these. And hopefully we're going to build them up progressively under a little more challenge as we go along. Big things to consider with this one is even though we are going to be focused on our leg mobility, this is also a really good opportunity for us to work on our core stability. And we do that by essentially always keeping those same Tai Chi principles of being rooted, in this case in our chairs, and being tall through the top of the spine, trying to keep ourselves as stable as possible in this position while we are moving our legs around in all sorts of funky patterns. And to do this, what I like to do is whatever leg I am targeting, for instance, if it is my right leg in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my left leg in slightly closer to my center and possibly toes turned out a little bit. It's not a big deal one way or another, but I want to draw this in so that when I apply weight down to my foot, I can feel that connection between my foot and the sit bone on the opposite side. So I want to get 2 points of stability, basically locking in through my chair and locking in through my foot, so I can free up my other leg to do the things that I want it to do while keeping myself tall and upright. It's going to be very tempting in the beginning, and honestly, don't worry about it if you do, but we're going to want to look down at our feet to see what's going on as we do these exercises. Totally fine in the beginning, go ahead. But once you feel comfortable that you can move your leg around in these various directions, the challenge becomes, again, anchor the foot, anchor the sit bone, and be tall through the top of the head and avoid tilting, rocking, or moving around. The first one that we're going to focus on is just creating circles flat on the floor. And I usually like teaching this one first because it's not very challenging. If you need to put your leg down at any point for balance or stability, anything like that, it's only got like a couple millimeters to go and you're back to being nice and stable. So let us begin. And the first thing we want to begin with is simply, can we move our leg out straight while keeping the sole of the foot flat on the floor? All right. Drawing it back, keeping it nice and flat on the floor. So this is really working our ankle and knee mobility. Hips are slightly involved in it, but not too dramatically. And as usual with our Tai Chi, as things move away from our center, we want to breathe in. As they move back towards our center, we want to breathe out. So breathing in and breathing out. Nice and gentle. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Bring our foot back even with where our other one was. Feel the weight go through that foot. As we lift our other leg, we should feel the connection between this foot and this sit bone. Make sure we feel a nice, strong, solid connection. Head up nice and tall. And as we breathe in, extend the leg out. And exhale, back in. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Very good. So now that we've got that down, the challenge becomes turning that into a circle. So that means we're on our in breath, we are going to curve in and out. And then on our out breath, we curve out and back in, or vice versa, just creating a circle on the ground. Now, at this point, we are starting to work on our hips. We want this side to side motion in our hips. And to get that, if you aren't already, see if you can shimmy a little further forward on your chair so you can get a nice range of motion side to side here. Same sort of thing we were doing in our little pitter patter exercise, right? Just being able to open up the hip wider and close it down. So again, drawing in the foot a little bit closer, anchoring it to the ground, feeling that sit bone. Now, when I breathe in, I'm going to arc in, out to the furthest point, and then I breathe out, opening that hip up, drawing it back in close. Breathing in and out. And in and out. Now, if you feel you're up for it, you can, of course, reverse directions after that. You can do as many repetitions as you want. Typically, when I'm teaching this to a seated class, I'm doing about 3 reps in one direction, switching legs, 3 reps in the other direction. So that's what we're going to do. Again, starting on the inside of the circle, moving to the outside, breathing in and breathing out. Opening that hip up. Breathing in and out. Always keeping the foot flat to the floor. Breathing in and breathing out. I should also mention, if you want to just like rub your foot on the floor while this is going on, totally fine. If you don't have the strength yet in your hip flexors to pick it up, no problem. If you do have the strength in your hip flexors, the challenge becomes not lifting it high off the floor, but keeping it as low to the floor as possible. So you're just ever so slightly skimming the surface. All right, so that was our inside to outside circles. So now we need to do our outside to inside circles. Again, draw the foot in, plant the weight through it, light up the opposing sit bone, and then we breathe in and out. And in and out. And in and out. Swapping legs from outside to inside. Breathing in and out. And in and out. And in and out. There you go. It's that simple. And I recommend start out with these just like that. So you're doing a total of about 12 repetitions. So 3 circles, 3 circles, 3 circles, 3 circles. And just make that kind of a habit. And you're sitting down in your chair waiting for dinner to arrive, whatever, just do a few circles, right? They don't have to be too big. You can change the size on them. My daughter running around upstairs. We might get a bunch of that today. It happens. So yeah, just run a few circles. Just get in a habit of it. And it doesn't have to be a super intense practice for you. This can just be a thing that, you know, just sort of becomes a little bit of a habit. Is, you know, just waiting around on something, draw a few circles, get a little bit of movement going in your ankles, knees, and hips. Anyways, do enjoy it. If you got any questions, comments, anything like that, fire them down below. Next episode, we are going to be getting our legs, or at least our feet, off of the ground and upping the ante a little bit, making it a little bit more challenging. Hope to see you there.